And welcome to the April 29th, 2020 edition of Devotions for Troubled Times. Once again, my purpose in doing this is to give you hope, to remind you that we have a confident expectation that our God is going to act on our behalf, that in fact, He has already acted on our behalf. And that's sort of the point. And then as we think about heading toward the end of the restrictions, we're coming out the other side. And so I'm wanting to kind of get us to start thinking about what's it going to be like after the restrictions are lifted. Not everything is going to go back to the way it was. In fact, not everything should go back to the way it was. And that's one of the things that I am wanting to address with you as I meet with you in these days. Um, First of all, many of us have found that we have a little bit more time than we used to have. We're not running around doing things. And I think that's good, actually. I think that perhaps we've become too busy. Now, there are some of you that perhaps don't have much to do or anywhere to go, or you don't have things to accomplish, and we'll talk about that and how to re-engage in the future. But for a lot of us, this slowdown has actually been healthy. It's given us time to do some things that we wouldn't otherwise have had time to do, and one of those things perhaps has been more praying. Once again, as we think about praying, we need to remember that God is here all the time. He's with us all the time. He's beside us and He's within us, and He wants us to carry on a daily conversation with Him. In fact, I'm going to be talking about that today. Pray without ceasing. And so as we come to 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 1 to 4, I'll read them for you again today. And we'll hit the second word in the list, which happens to be the most generic term for prayer. But let me read this to you. First of all, then I urge you that supplications and prayers, intercessions and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all who are in high positions, that we may lead a peaceful and quiet life, godly and dignified in every way. This is good, and it is pleasing in the sight of God our Savior, who desires all people to be saved and to come to the knowledge of the truth. So as we think about this, we're supposed to be praying and quiet lives. A peaceful and quiet life. I don't know about you, but I think that the American life is not characterized as a peaceful and quiet life very often. And perhaps the COVID-19 is doing that for us. We're slowing down. There's not as much traffic on the roads. There's not as many places to go. There's not as much to do. We don't find ourselves running in circles, and our schedule's so full we don't know what to do. And we're not in control, but we know someone who is. And so prayer is hugely important. The Apostle Paul once again urges Timothy to pray. He earnestly encourages him to be a man of prayer. Yesterday we talked about supplications, which is an urgent request for a specific need. And right now our governor needs our urgent requests for his specific need, that he would have wisdom. But that's not going to change. We need to continue to do that. Then today's word from proseuchomai is, as I said, the most generic word for prayer, talking to God. It is accompanied with the idea that you're just in communication with God, that you are reaching out to Him, that you're aware of His presence in your life. And I wanted to anchor to this notion as well in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Many of you are going to be familiar with this, but in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, I'm going to read a lot more than what I really have to here, but the Apostle Paul is coming to the end of his letter, and he's going to kind of wrap up with some things for the Christian church to do. We ask you, brothers and sisters, to respect those who labor among you and who are over you in the Lord, and admonish you, and to esteem them very highly in love because of their work. Then so honoring your pastors, basically the elders, the people that orchestrate and help you in the life of the church. But then be at peace among yourselves. And we urge you, brothers, admonish the idle. So we're not supposed to sit around and do nothing. Admonish the idle, encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, be patient with them all. See that no one repays anyone evil for evil, but always seek to do good to one another and to everyone. So not just to the body, but also to those who are outside the body. Then verse 16, rejoice always. Verse 17, pray without ceasing. The word proseuchomai is used there. It's be in a conversation with God all the time. Keep the conversation going. Address your life to him. Pretend as though he is always there, always seeing, always hearing, always a part of the conversation. Be mindful of that as you go through your day. That's praying. That's keeping God in the center of things. And we're supposed to do that for all people, especially for our leaders. But if we could cultivate that attitude of prayer, then perhaps, our phone calls will turn into prayer, and our card writing will turn into prayer, and our visits with one another around a dinner table will turn into prayer. We'll have God as our silent witness in everything that we're doing, and we'll be cultivating that heart attitude. That's my desire for all of us. And I have to admit, I don't always get that. It's hard. It's hard to remember the unseen guest is there. He's present. He's always there. And so in these times especially, and as we move back into the busyness of life, don't forget he's there. And, spend some time asking him, Lord, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? Who do you want me to write? Who should I call? Do I need to re-engage in all the things that I've been doing? Might be a good idea to ask him and see what he has to say. The question is not whether or not God is speaking. The only question is whether or not we are hearing. And so as you think about praying, the other side of praying, I think, does involve listening, and it does involve having a mindset that says, okay, I'm going to make my earnest request for a specific need, the supplication. But as a part of prayer, I'm also going to be listening. And I'm going to be asking God what he wants. And is there something that I should do? Is there something that I should be involved in? So this is what prayer is. Prayer is communication. It's back and forth. And it is a constant awareness that God is present and that he is engaged in the conversation of your life. Your life speaks. God's listening. And I just want to encourage you with that. And I want you to be mindful of that so that as we move forward, you'll be aware, you'll be practicing the presence of God. Well, God bless you as you go praying through your day. Begin practicing today. Begin thinking today. God is present. He's here with me. I can talk to him. I can listen to him. Do it today and begin that habit and that pattern while things are still somewhat slow, so that when we get back into activity, God is still there, still present, still a part of what we're doing. God bless you as you go through this day praying.